whether it was ISIS or another group, was clearly trying to target Tunisia, not just for Tunisia's sake, but because it's a symbol of a successful Arab Spring country that is in the process of making a transition to democracy. And I think since we support that transition to democracy, not just in Tunisia, but elsewhere, this is indirectly an attack on the United States and on our values.
That is the former American ambassador to Tunisia, Gordon Gray, on MSNBC discussing yesterday's tragic attack. We welcome you in for hour 3 of our program with Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth. And Miranda, yesterday's attack seems to indicate that ISIS has mastered the art of online propaganda and may in fact have taken it to a new level.
Yeah, the terror group has not officially claimed responsibility for yesterday's attack in Tunisia, but it happened just days after a Tunisian jihadist tweeted a pledge of allegiance to ISIS and announced an imminent attack. This is the first time an attack was announced outside of ISIS's so-called caliphate in Iraq and Syria, raising the question now, do we need to expand our fight against ISIS?
Joining us with more on this story, cyberspace extremism expert Rabbi Abraham Cooper, who is also the founder of Digital Terrorism, the Hate Project at the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Rabbi, do you think in essence this was a pre-announcement of the attack?
I don't know if I would go that far, but clearly ISIS, Al-Shabaab, and the Al-Qaeda related thugs that are out there, they are running circles around all of us. They've managed to leverage the social networking platforms to really, use it for propaganda, sometimes for command and control, certainly for recruitment. And here we are, of course, talking about them. So there are a lot of tweets, there are a lot of pledges of allegiance. It doesn't sound to me like this was a lone wolf type of attack yesterday, perhaps returning fighters from Syria, Iraq. We don't really know, but we actually released our report card yesterday, the annual report card on the social networking companies. And on a hunch, about 10 minutes before we walked into the press conference at the New York Museum of Tolerance, I asked my colleagues to go ahead and check Twitter and see what was going on. And before this thing was even finished, before we knew the final body count, all over Twitter, there were celebrations of the event, saying that, quote unquote, the frogs, meaning the French, had gotten what they deserved. This is a situation that really is intolerable. It's in effect handing over what would be the last generation's equivalent of all the TV, all the media to the terrorists and allowing them to dictate the terms of engagement, to allow them to go unfearful, unadulterated directly, not only to their constituents, but also to mock the United States, to spread fear and terror among civilian populations around the world. And this simply has to stop.
Rabbi, you're a cyberspace expert. Does more attention, in your opinion, need to be paid to the online activity of individuals with potential terror ties, or does that just make them that much stronger by us talking about it, by us showing video of this?
Well, let me make it focus where the concerns are, the main concerns are right now insofar as terrorism. We have to degrade the online marketing campaigns that are going full-blown from ISIS and the other terrorist groups. In order to do that, we have to get the full engagement of the companies. That means Twitter, it means YouTube, it means Google, Facebook, and a lot of other companies that only our kids and grandchildren have heard about before. We need their voluntary involvement to make it more difficult for the terrorists, for the food chain of terrorism, to use those platforms in order to wreak havoc, in order to boast about events, current, future, possibly, and certainly past. So I think right now the intelligence agencies, the police, they're paying plenty of attention to this burgeoning problem. But if we don't get Twitter to come up with a list of rules and to begin to co-opt and to bar those groups that openly and proudly parade their allegiance to terrorism, we could lose this war.
Well, the world continues to change, and yet people try to regulate the flow of information. In the old days, it was capturing radio or television stations. Rabbi, as you have outlined, in this new world, it's getting a hold of social media. Rabbi, we want you to stay right there. We're going to continue the conversation with you, and we hope wherever you're watching, you'll stay with us too. America's Forum continues right after this.